National title game. Shout out to everyone today. Happy MLK Day. Happy National Title Football Game Day. I am the Gym Slasher. I am your host. I'm too excited. I didn't even introduce myself. I'm sorry. I'm the Gym Slasher. Back at it again. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. I am your host. Thank you for watching. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. Let's get into work. Who do you got for the national title game tonight? I'm going to jump right into who I have, and I'm going to break all that stuff down. And put your likes, put your comments. Who do you guys got? What do you guys think? Am I off? Am I not? Let's go. Let's have fun with it as we watch the game later on tonight. That being said, I have the Indiana Hoosiers winning this game 27-24. I got a close game. I got a tight game. I think it's going to be balanced. But I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on both schools and how I think this is great for football, for college football. I talked about, all kind of facets over this year, about the portal, about the NIL, about, transferring and Heisman trophies and winning and all that. The game is not the same anymore. A lot of traditions are still in the game. And then you've seen a lot of things that are not traditional. I think similar to what a lot of people say, once the cat is out the bag, it's out. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I understand that some people just are simply not going to like it, but I'm going to be honest with you. The numbers say different. The ratings are sky high. People enjoy watching this. I think the best thing that college football did was introduce the playoffs. Does the playoff system needs work? Yes, we've already talked about that. But overall, I think the college football is alive and healthy. There's some controversial things in terms of decisions being made or have been made. And I think that an oversight, like I've said before, I think that has to happen. I think that there's some kind of barriers and restrictions that do need to be put in it. But overall, I think the two best teams came out of this and that was deserving of being in the position that they were in. And I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. You have Indiana Hoosiers, who are relative new blood in the realm of football. We know Indiana Hoosiers as a basketball school, but to come in as a football powerhouse over the last 2 years, and they have been a powerhouse. Yes, they got beat last year in the playoffs, I believe, to Notre Dame, and they got that taste of what it takes to be an elite team. And they came back and responded in such a phenomenal way to say, okay, we see what that happened in this year or coming this season, we're going to be locked in. And you see the success that came with that. They have a great head coach in Netty. If I'm saying his name right, if I'm not, I apologize. I mean no disrespect by that. But they're well coached on all three levels of the game: special teams, offense, defense. They're not missing. They're well coached on those. And then you got the Miami Hurricanes, the U. They're one of the traditional powerhouses of college football. They are of that upper echelon with the Ohio States of the world, with the Michigans, with the USCs, with the Alabamas, Georgia. They are in that level. They are that good, that great. They got Hall of Fame alumni all up and down, and you're going to see them. And I promise you're going to see them in that game. All the alumni, from Jimmy Johnson to Michael Irvin to Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Jeremy Shockey, the list goes on and on. Rest in peace to Sean Taylor. He will be there. It's just so many great players that came from out of that school that had great, phenomenal careers in the pros on top of that. So, and then on top of that, it happens to be in Miami Stadium and Hard Rock Stadium. So, and Mendoza coming from Miami. So this Miami tie-in and that vibe is just going to be unreal. I'm excited to see it. I think just as a fan, I just want to see a good game. Miami is well coached with Cristobal. He knows that tradition. He understands the importance of trenches, winning in the trenches, just as well as Cincinnati does as well. That D-line and that O-line is going to be important. I think you're going to see the game slow for a little bit, and then it's going to start picking up. The freshman out of Miami, he's dynamite. I think he's going to be an X factor. If Miami was to pull this off, I believe it's going to be probably from him. They're going to put him any and everywhere, just try to give him the ball to make some things happen, and I can see that going that way. But I just think that in my brain, I look at Indiana for this season. They just kind of remind me of a Terminator. They're just going to stick to the path. They're going to keep going. Kind of like Terminator or like a boa constrictor, an anaconda. They'll just squeeze and just continue to squeeze. And the more you fight, the more they squeeze as you fight. And they just slowly, methodically break you down. And you don't realize how constricting they start to get until like the third quarter. And you look up and you're like, dang, we're down. We're losing. What happened? They're one of those teams where it's not extra flashy, but you just don't realize that they're just breaking you down. And by the time you're trying to get yourself together, they got so much momentum. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll be curious to find out. I think Miami may be that team like a couple months ago with Penn State, where they're going to get out ahead. I believe that Miami is going to find a way to be ahead. 10-0. I can see something like that, a 13-0. I can see something along those lines where out the gate, Miami takes a decent lead that puts some pressure on Indiana. I want to see Indiana come from behind in some kind of capacity, a little bit adversity, to see how they handle putting Mendoza in a situation where he's got to lead this team to wins. You've seen him. He kind of did that with Ohio State. Penn State, to me, was his Heisman Trophy moment, where you see that and how they pull that off. I want to see that in this stage, and I think that they can answer that bill. Like I said, I have Indiana winning this game ultimately by 3 points. Indiana is favored for those who care about that stuff, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think, because I think Miami and that energy that's going to draw from the crowd, Indiana fans is going to show up 100%. But I think it's just going to be a great stage for both schools, a new school, old school, that kind of collision. You don't get a chance to see that often. So when you see these, I think we should just sit back and take a moment and enjoy them. But again, I'm not mad if Miami do pull it off. I think it's either way, college football wins at the end of the day. I don't think you're going to get anything wrong. As long as it's void of controversy, if we can just keep that out of it, that'd be great. If just a good, clean win, let the best team win. But I'm rooting for Indiana. I want them to pull this off. I want them to win that. I want them to close this thing out over this 2-year span and see how that success for Indiana going into the next year, how that's going to translate for their school. The recruiting and all that. Now you're going to be having that coach is going to have some issues where you're going to actually be 5-star players are going to start wanting to knock down on your door. And you're so used to having those 3-star, 2-star, 0-star and build on that. Nobody believed in this. Now, how are you going to handle if you start getting those 4-star, 5-star players that want to come there? And now that's not going to be the underdog. The underdog deal you can't use anymore after the end of this game right here. It's done. Everyone's going to know who Indiana is next season. They will be the hunted. Even if they don't win this game, they are going to be the hunted. They're going to be the measuring stick, especially in the Big Ten Conference, where you beat Ohio State and Penn State and Michigans of the world, USCs of the world, Oregons of the world. You are now the big dog. And now how do you handle being the big dog of the conference? And that's a completely different element. And I believe that coach is built to do that. And I believe that coach is going to lock in those players to do it. But it's going to be interesting. Miami has been there. They know they're going to understand how this works in terms of wearing that crown. They're going to be more than happy to deal with that. And they know that because of the tradition. But either way, it's going to be great. It's going to be entertaining. So give me your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to come out on top? Where do you think this is going to go? If you guys could give me a score, let me know. Is it going to be a blowout? Is it going to be a upset? Is it going to be a rock'em sock'em? Is it an overtime game? I'm here for it either way. Either way. So with that being said, who are you? What is your mission? I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Peace.